Chapter 1. Memories in Snow Part 2. There was a room in a palatial mansion that was full of large antiques. The stately furnishings were austere and without embellishments, but experts would have recognized the materials as remarkably extravagant. The room looked subdued, but the shoes, clothes, and toys indicated that its resident was a child and not an adult. That child was sleeping in the large bed in the center of the room. She was lovely, with brown skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. She seemed to have a cold and sometimes coughed painfully. A woman, apparently her mother, sat by her bedside, knitting with a practiced hand. Knock, knock. The mother noticed the reserved knocking and looked up towards the door. Come in. The thick wooden door opened at her voice. A boy peered in. His pale skin and green eyes contrasted with the woman's and the girl's. What's wrong? Mother, how's Miyuki? It was obvious at a glance that the woman and boy were not biological relatives. The only thing they had in common was their beautiful blonde hair. She's fine. The fever's gone down, and she'll be good to go in a couple more days. The mother looked at the boy kindly. One-chama, the girl whispered. The boy began to approach, but the mother raised her hand to stop him. No. If you get this cold, too, it'll be even longer before you can play together. All right, he cast his eyes downward. The mother gently admonished him. It's getting late. You should get to bed. I will. Good night, mother. Get better soon, Miyuki. He was about to close the door when something outside caught his eye, if only for a moment. It was a human silhouette. What's the matter? I thought I saw someone outside the window. As he spoke, the mother swiftly moved towards the window he pointed at. She did not intend to frighten the children, but the way she carried herself betrayed her military training. She peered out the window from the shadows and confirmed that the security system was functional. This house belonged to one of the country's leading families, perhaps even the most powerful in the country. They were equipped with a tight, multi-layered security system for protection. Since the alarm did not sound, there should be no intruder. But the mother was clearly wary of something. Having confirmed that there were no malfunctions, she turned back towards the boy. It's all right. There's nothing there. It must be a snow fairy who came to look for you, since you two weren't outside playing. So you better work on getting better. Her soothing voice allayed the boy's unease. You're right. Good night, Miyuki. Good night, mother. The mother watched him leave the room and sat down by the girl's side again. The little girl's face was twisted in sadness. She missed the boy. You'll be able to play again when you get over your cold. The girl nodded, on the verge of tears. Do you like him that much? The mother teased the girl as if she was talking to her friend and not her daughter. You know what? When I grow up, I'm going to marry him. The girl half hid her face in her blanket while she talked, embarrassed, and then covered her whole head. Is that so? Wouldn't that be nice? The mother murmured, somewhat sadly. The pure white snow showed no signs of stopping and continued to fall, as if it intended to smother everything. The snow had stopped the next day, which was rare during that season. Reflected in the white crystals, the sunlight almost seemed to be dancing. The girl watched the charming sight from her bed. She had gone to sleep early the night before and therefore woke up at quite an early hour, too. Bored and not knowing what to do, she sat up, feeling somewhat better. She glanced out the window and saw someone running in the snow. A boy was playing with a ball on the frozen ground. One-chama, that's not fair. The girl got out of bed to go after him, but then imagined the worried look on her mother's face and quietly followed the boy with her gaze instead. Even from a distance, she could tell he was having a lot of fun. He had been cooped up for days, frustrated that he could not run as fast as he wanted when the girl was with him. Now he ran quickly and furiously after the ball. He could kick it even farther and run faster. Faster. The girl watched him get farther and farther away, and an unspeakable anxiety suddenly welled up inside her. She felt like he was going to disappear into the snow, just like that. The boy kicked the ball high. He ran after it, watching it rise in an arc in the blue sky. Oh, Running into a sudden plume of powdery snow, he stopped. He was buffeted by the wind swirling around him. In a few seconds, it passed. He opened his eyes and saw that the fallen ball had rolled close by. He went to go get it and then noticed a woman standing beside it. The boy stiffened, vigilant. This woman had appeared out of nowhere in the middle of a clearing, after all. I have to run away, he thought instinctively. This whole area was the property of his house. A stranger would not be out here alone without an escort. Since he was born privileged, he was taught as a matter of course that some people would try to make contact for ulterior motives, especially malicious ones. Although young, he knew what to do. Activate the guardian system, and then, he thought, but did not move. He only stared at her. An otherworldly beauty with striking red hair, dressed in black. What held his attention were her eyes, the same green as his. He did not feel afraid. On the contrary, he felt nostalgic. I know this person. I know her. The woman picked the ball up and approached. Is this yours, little boy? He shivered at her regal voice, almost moved to tears. If he shifted even a little bit, perhaps the tears would spill out. He could not move a step until she was right in front of him. With a gentle smile, she held out the ball. He took it, still staring into her eyes. Thank you, he managed to stammer. Then, as though he was coming to his senses, the nervousness binding him vanished. Was it because their hands brushed when he took the ball from her? Surprise remained on the boy's face, but he was no longer wary. Another pair of eyes watched them from the bushes a short distance away. It was the girl who had snuck out of bed. She had spotted them, but for some reason, she could not call out to them. Her mother treated the boy no differently, but even to the girl's naive eyes, there was something off in their relationship. But this woman and the boy stood there together, perfectly natural, as if they used to be a single entity. She's the Snow Queen. The girl remembered a bedtime story her mother told. A beautiful woman, shocked by the death of her child, disappeared into the snowy mountains. Without a body, she was a soul adrift, continuing to search for her child, who was no more. It was the tragic tale of a spirit who kidnapped children she saw playing alone. From the girl's position, she could not tell what they were talking about, but it was clear they were enjoying each other's company. She could only watch. She noticed that something had changed. There was no sound of the wind or rustling trees. A hushed silence fell around them. The woman reached out to the boy. The boy did not resist. He did not know what they had been talking about, but he knew that he wanted to take her outstretched hand. He reached back. The Snow Queen is going to take One-chama away. The girl had a gut feeling. She tried to stop him, but her voice would not emerge, as if time had stopped for everyone besides the woman and the boy. She's going to take him away. No matter how the girl panicked, she could not move one finger. The sadness brought tears to her eyes. She's going to take him away. The moment the woman and her brother's hands were about to touch, warm tears streaked the girl's cheeks. One-chama. In that moment, time, which had been frozen in place, began to tick forward again. The boy came back to his senses at the girl's cry. The desire to take the woman's hand vanished, and he turned around. The girl stood there, wearing only a shawl over her nightclothes. Miyuki. The boy, surprised, ran to the girl. One-chama. Mother told you to stay in bed. He gallantly threw his cape over her. One-chama. The girl clung to him and turned to the woman, practically daring her to take him. But then, she noticed the deep sorrow in the woman's eyes, which dissolved her intense anger. IMSA. Equally intense remorse now welled up inside her. IMSA. She kept trying to say the words, but the sound would not come out. Miyuki-sama. Miyuki-sama. Two guards rushed over, having come to search for the missing girl, and raised their guns to protect the children from the suspicious woman. The woman continued to calmly regard the children. Still clutching the boy, the girl could not avert her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice breaking and her face tear-stained. I'm sorry, she finally managed to say and buried her face in the boy's shoulder to avoid the woman's eyes. She repeated the phrase like an incantation. I'm sorry. I'm not angry at you. The boy, thinking the words were meant for him, hugged the girl and gently patted her head. I'm sorry. The girl did not want to see the woman's eyes anymore. She was afraid. She knew that if she looked into the stranger's eyes, she would not be able to stop the boy from leaving with her. The second one of the guards touched the woman to take hold of her, a powerful wind whipped around them. For a moment, everything turned white, perhaps along with the emotions of everyone present. Goodbye, dear boy. The girl heard the woman's voice clearly through the billowing wind. The girl flinched and, raising her face, saw the woman smile at her. Her red hair danced in the wind, and she had the same gentle green eyes as the girl's brother. Then the woman vanished into the snow. The guards brought the girl back with the boy, and, exactly as she expected, she was scolded by her worried mother. Since she had gone outside just as she was getting over her cold, she ended up on bed rest for another week. The boy also caught a cold, and they were laid up side by side. The girl held the boy's hand as he panted restlessly through his illness. One-chama, 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 thoughts swirled endlessly in her mind. Feeling the warmth of her brother's hand, she relived the day. The woman must have been the Snow Queen. A kind, sorrowful apparition. A beautiful red-haired spirit of snow who let her have her brother back. Mahoshi One-chan, what happened to the Snow Queen? Sasami asked innocently. Nobody ever saw her again. Is that so? Who knows? She could have been nearby this whole time, Ryoko said in a low voice, threatening Mahoshi. Huh? Come on, don't scare me like that. Seriously, she's right behind you. The moment Ryoko said that, the window opened, the snowstorm swirled inside, and a figure with red hair silhouetted against the sky appeared. At this well-timed entrance, followed by Mahoshi's blood-curdling screech, everyone jumped up, screaming. The Snow Queen. Wait, don't leave me. Paralyzed with fright, Mahoshi crawled across the floor, bawling. Mahoshi! A snow-covered figure grabbed Mahoshi by the collar. Eek! Save me! Mahoshi frantically screamed. Mahoshi! The snowy figure yelled in her ear. That voice, is that Washu-chan? Tenchi was the first to notice, but soon, everyone besides Mahoshi realized that the Snow Queen was Washu. Washu's angry voice and Tenchi's words did not reach Mahoshi, as she was the only one still crying and screaming. Please spare me. I won't tell anyone. Although I guess I just did. Quiet. Washu, exasperated, bonked Mahoshi on the head, something she rarely did. Ow! What was that for, Miss Snow Queen? Mahoshi took a long, hard look. Oh! Washu-san. Her ability to think returned, and she recognized the person standing before her as Washu. She let out a sigh of relief. I'm so glad. I thought you were the Snow Queen. Mahoshi Dano, Washu grabbed her by the collar, brought her close, and glared at her. When Washu was mad, she looked even scarier than the Snow Queen. What's the matter? Why the scary face? Do you really think I could smile when I almost got lost in a blizzard? Oh dear, that sounds terrible. Mahoshi was slow on the uptake. Washu's face twitched. She should have known that beating around the bush never worked with Mahoshi. Feeling drained, she switched to a specific line of questioning. What did you do in my room when you went to look for me? This time, she did not tell Mahoshi to be brief. Mahoshi started to talk. She had an excellent memory and could explain everything she did in great detail. Well, first, Sasami-chan was preparing lunch. The menu was tender stem broccolini in broth and simmered potatoes, which Ryoko stole a taste of this morning, and I was thinking that they must be getting so tender just about now, soaking up the broth enough to fall apart. Oh, and I smelled fish and daikon stewed in sweet soy. That's enough of the lunch menu. Huh? Okay, and I figured it was about time to call everyone over, so I went to open that door to your laboratory. Oh, I knocked 3 times, of course, and called your name 3 times, but you didn't answer, so I went inside. Then it was pitch black, and I turned around, and the door wasn't there, and I completely lost my bearings, so I got nervous and cried a little. Teehee. But I trusted my instincts as a Galaxy police officer and looked for the exit, and it was still dark, but it got very hot. Oh, I forgot to say that I heard a bush warbler. Their song is so calming and elegant and reminiscent of spring. Anyway, Mahoshi continued, it was so hot that I started to sweat, and I tried to take some clothes off, but I tripped on my pants and fell over. It's so true that you see stars when you hit your head. Oh, before I took my clothes off, I thought you might be around, so I called your name 3 times, but I still didn't hear an answer. I picked up my clothes because I shouldn't leave things behind. And then the floor was very slippery, so I tripped 3 more times. I hurt my knee, elbow, and the back of my head, so I cried a little bit. Teehee. But I'm an officer, so I mustered my courage and got back up. Aren't I great? Oh, then I called your name 3 times again, but I still didn't hear an answer. Instead, I heard a click from my right, and then there was what sounded like an animal growling from my left. I got scared and I ran, but I tripped 3 more times and cried. Oh, but I didn't forget to keep calling your name. 3 times. Then I was anxious, and I was hoping I'd hear the warbler again, so I called the warbler 3 times. Then I figured I should call your name, so that was 3 more times. Mihoshi's ability to recall was extraordinary, but she did not have the ability to organize those memories. As a result, her reports left not only Jurai, but also the GP in confusion. That was the reason why, earlier, Washu had told her to be brief. This time, for the sake of figuring out what Mihoshi had done, she could not. 2 hours later, I got tired of walking, so I sat down to take a rest. Then, hold on a sec. What exactly did you sit on? Well, I think the number 1083847888298 was on it. I see. Washu had patiently listened to Mihoshi's endless story for hours. Now, she had finally heard the source of the trouble. She picked up Mihoshi with a smile, slid open the window, and threw her out into the heap of snow. Tossed with a strength that belied Washu's apparent age, Mihoshi landed face first in the deep snow, about 8 meters away. Ai. What are you doing? Flailing about, Mihoshi made things worse for herself. Humph. Washu lightly harumphed at the sight, slammed the window shut, and locked it for good measure. Good grief. She scrambled the weather controller, and somehow, only for this valley. Washu-san, please open up. Mihoshi implored, banging on the window, which Washu ignored. The others watched, and though they cast sympathetic glances at Mihoshi, they did not dare open the window. Washu activated her terminal and started to tinker with the weather control. She turned to the others. Oh, so, I heard you yelling that I was the Snow Queen. But what were you all doing with the curtains closed? Sasami briefed her about Mihoshi's story. I see, Washu replied curtly, although she was the one who asked for the information, and continued working without another word. Washu-sama. After a while, Aika nervously spoke to Washu, pointing to Mihoshi, who was on the verge of tears on the other side of the window. Seeing Washu continue to ignore her, Aika fell silent without another word. Tenchi and Sasami did likewise. That should do it for now. Finished, Washu turned her terminal off, briefly stretched, and finally turned her attention to the window. I'm sorry. Mihoshi was plastered to the window, her nose red from the cold, repeating her apology over and over in tears. I'm sorry. Washu stared at Mihoshi, dumbfounded. I'm sorry. Tenchi and Sasami noticed Washu's body trembling slightly. Then a chuckle came out. Heh. Washu slowly started to laugh. Ha 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 ha. Bursting out laughing, Washu opened the window and hugged Mihoshi. What? Unable to brace herself against the sudden onslaught, Mihoshi lost her balance and fell into the snow with Washu. You're just so cute. Darn you. Washa rolled in the snow, swinging Mihoshi around. Is her brain frozen? At that, Ryoko's face was suddenly covered in white powder. Washu had thrown a snowball at her. Why, you? Falling easily for Washu's provocation, she leapt outside. Yay! Me too. Meow. Sasami and Ryo-oki followed. Wait, Sasami. Wapf. Ryoko's snowball hit Aika. Ryoko-san. Aika squared her shoulders and also leapt out into the yard. Another snowball hit Tenchi. Since nobody knew who they were throwing at, the snowball fight turned into a big free-for-all. Washu, throwing snowballs, looked sidelong at Mihoshi. I'm sorry, she says. You look just like her, little girl. Just then, Ryoko hit her with a snowball. Washu sank into the snow, laughing. So, she thought to herself, it's been 20,000 years. This time, Mihoshi's coincidences included the discovery of a disconnected circuit that had gotten too old and a bug in one of the weather programs. Neither was too serious. And, on the way to the weather controller, Washu found a manga volume she had left behind and forgotten about. Hey, I should have known Washa took it. It was the last volume of Checking In on You. Ryoko snatched the manga from Washu, looked lovingly at it, and leapt on top of the crossbeams. Okay, good for you, Washa mumbled weakly, watching Ryoko happily read her manga.